Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. Let's get started. A living legend, Sir Paul McCartney in Spokane tonight to kick off his Got Back tour. Fans were lined up outside the Spokane arena, many of them calling this a concert of a lifetime. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk talked to them ahead of the show.
A black SUV carrying one of the most famous musicians alive pulled into the Spokane arena late this afternoon.
Hey, Paul, I know you.
Peace, brother.
Sir Paul McCartney beginning his Got Back tour in the Lilac City.
He puts on the best concert I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm almost 70 years old.
McCartney took the stage around 8 tonight, but fans of all ages were lined up hours before.
I'm 85 years old or something like that. Anyway, I'm old, so I know the Beatles from forever. So this was Paul is my favorite.
Number one concert by far that I wanted to go to. So I drove around 6 hours and I'm going to be sleeping in my car tonight before I head back.
Yellow Submarine, I'm all ready for it. We are so excited to see this.
I bought that button in the summer of 1964. Actually bought it in Lewiston, Idaho at the Bon Marché.
My dad is also a big Beatles fan, so he drew me a tattoo because I'm also a Beatles fan.
Here comes the sun.
Says, "Here comes the sun."
The Spokane Arena says some fans flew all the way from Japan and Sweden just to see the living legend. Following tonight's performance, McCartney will head to Seattle. His Got Back tour wraps up June 16th in New Jersey.
Love you! Oh, dear God.
In Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. Bloomsday is almost here, and this year's race will be in person for the first time in 2 years. But there are some important things to note before you go to the race. Before Sunday, you must head to the Spokane Convention Center to pick up your race number. Bloomsday officials urge you to know your number. If you don't have it, you can find it by visiting the Bloomsday website. Coming up in just about 5 minutes, we'll share more on what to expect and what else you'll need before you run Bloomsday.
And it's very important to us to be a good neighbor. And so we want to reach out to all of the folks who are around the potential site. We want to listen to their concerns and mitigate those concerns. And once we have done that, then we'll be ready to move forward with those next steps of announcing a location. Yesterday, Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward gave her State of the City address, where it was announced that Catholic Charities would move their downtown homeless shelter. The new facility is expected to be 24/7 with the capacity to house up to 300 men and women. Right now, Catholic Charities officials say the downtown location can only house up to 135 people a night, but at one point had 300 to 400 people at one time, with people sleeping on the floors. Right now, Catholic Charities already has 3 spots that are zoned correctly, they said, that they are considering for that location. As for the current House of Charity, that building will no longer house people overnight. Once that new facility is built, it'll be used as office space, they say. Washington Governor Jay Inslee was in Spokane today, visiting both Eastern Washington University and Spokane Falls Community College. Inslee met with Eastern students, faculty, and administrators to learn more about the campus sustainability efforts and tour the Palouse Prairie Restoration Project. The project aims to restore 120 acres of campus land where almost none of native Palouse Prairie habitat land at EWU remains. His next stop was at the Spokane Falls Community College Planetarium. There he met with the Environmental Club and got a tour of the new Sustainability Center and Planetarium. Well, a district judge rejected an attempt by 2 North Idaho College trustees to block the appointment of 3 new board members. Judge Cynthia Meyer denied the request to grant a temporary restraining order against the Idaho State Board of Education while it works to fill 3 vacancies on the NIC Board of Trustees. The lawsuit claimed the state board is exceeding its authority by appointing more than 1 trustee. Post Falls attorney James Bendel claims that allowing the state board to appoint more than 1 trustee is, quote, anti-democratic and violates Idaho code. Judge Meyer rejected that argument and said the board is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. All right, let's talk weather. It is a huge weekend coming up here in the Northwest, with thousands of people hoping for at least some decent weather. So let's get straight outside to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. Jeremy, the forecast a bit tricky, but there is hope, you were saying, for Sunday.
Yeah, you know, Mark, I'm kind of liking this forecast because it gives us a little bit of something for everyone. Hear me out now. Right now, we're sitting about where we've been the past couple nights, 45 degrees, but notice We've got a little more cloud cover right now and a little bit of scattered moisture around the region. I think that plays a role in our temperatures as we head into the remainder of the evening. Right now, 50s out in central Washington, near 40 in North Idaho with clearing skies, but we're going to see a little more moisture here. Right currently, we have some radar feedback, a little bit of moisture down across the Palouse, not much. We wind up seeing a bulk of that stay to our south, and it really remains that way. We might squeeze out a stray shower here in Spokane overnight. Tomorrow morning, more sunshine as we kick things off before our next round of showers moves in as we get into Saturday. So tomorrow offers us a break in the action as temperatures climb from near 40 in the morning all the way into the upper 50s in the afternoon. And that's kind of our break. Then as we get into the weekend, we've got rain on Saturday and the possibility for a great day on Sunday. I'll walk you through your Bloomsday forecast coming up in just a bit.
Sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the broadcast. In your national news tonight, are you one of the millions of people who still have student loans? Well, your debt could be forgiven. President Joe Biden is considering that possibility right now. In a meeting with some House Democrats, the president said that he may be open to forgiving some student loans. That prompted Senate Republicans to introduce legislation to stop the president from doing so by executive action. Democratic lawmakers say young people are struggling under more than $1.7 trillion in student debt. Moderna submitted a request to the FDA this morning for emergency use authorization for a vaccine for children under the age of 6. If approved, the vaccine would be available to kids between 6 months and 6 years old. The most recent phase of Moderna's Kid Cove trial revealed that 2 doses of its vaccine had a 51% efficacy rate for children 6 months to 2 years old and a 37% efficacy rate for children 2 years old to under 6 years old. Moderna's announcement comes as the FDA is making the vaccine available for younger kids, younger than 5, they say is one of their highest priorities, only after careful and thorough analysis of relevant data, they said. Well, it is day 3 of the rape trial involving a former Idaho state representative, and the jury is in deliberations right now. Former Idaho Representative Aaron Von Ellinger is accused of raping a 19-year-old State House intern during the 2021 legislative session. The victim, who is identified as Jane Doe, briefly took the stand yesterday, and during her testimony, she was asked about the alleged assault by the prosecution. At one point, Doe said, quote, "I can't do this," and ran out of the courtroom. She did not return, so the judge ordered the jury to strike her testimony. Von Ellinger also took the stand today and reiterated his stance that the encounter between himself and Jane Doe was consensual, he said. The jury was sent away for deliberations at approximately noon today. We are continuing to follow this trial, but for the latest updates, you can always visit our website, KREM.com. And in other Northwest news, the Seattle City Council passed another ordinance this week that changes the rules for landlords collecting late rent from tenants. Under the new ordinance, landlords are required to cap repayment installments to 1/3 of the tenant's rent. They also must offer a reasonable schedule for the tenant to pay the back rent and expand the rent covered to 6 months after the city's civil emergency comes to an end. Under the previous ordinance passed back in May of 2020, renters only had up to 6 months to repay late rent, and it only covered the period during Washington State's public health emergency. Boeing reported major losses in their first quarter earnings right now. The company cited higher costs and delays, including impacts from the war in Ukraine. Boeing posted a net loss of $1.2 billion in the first 3 months of the year. Part of that loss is $660 million in delays and higher costs for the Air Force One program. Back in 2018, the company reached an agreement with then President Donald Trump to modify 2 new 747 jumbo jets to replace the current planes. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. With Bloomsday this weekend, we are sharing everything you need to know before the race. We are back in just 90 seconds.